Shavua Tov, good afternoon everybody, welcome to a new week and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land and hosted by me, Rolene Marks. And I missed you guys last week. I was at the World Zionist Congress, and as much as I would have loved to have brought you your Israel Briefs directly from Jerusalem, it was absolutely jam-packed with back-to-back sessions ending late at night. So I will have to make it up to you this week, and so I shall. So let's take a look at those top stories as we do every Monday to Thursday right here on the Israel Brief. And we begin with a new initiative put forward by President Herzog. The president was addressing a joint conference of the Jewish Agency for Israel, the World Zionist Organization, Jewish Federations of North America, and Keren Herzog, when he said that the biggest existential threat that is facing global Jewry are the internal threats. He says our continued polarization and distance from each other is really what threatens us all. Now, this comes as the proposed judicial overhauls have really polarized not just Jews in Israel, but all around the world. I saw firsthand last week how these divisions had infiltrated communities around the world. The president presented his new initiative called Kol Ha'am, the voice of the people, which aims to bring Jews from around the world to engage with each other in very, very high level kinds of dialogue, sort of like a Davos, so to speak. So he's launched this in joint with the World Zionist Organization, and we look forward to his initiative being a success. Heaven only knows we really do need to open up those avenues of dialogue. Now, tomorrow is Yom Hazikaron, that is Memorial Day in Israel, where we remember our fallen soldiers and victims of terror. And ahead of tomorrow, the Prime Minister, along with Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, leaders of the opposition, Benny Gantz and Yair Lapid, joined by the IDF Chief of Staff, Herzi Halevi, have issued a joint statement appealing to everybody to please leave their political differences and disagreements away from Memorial Day ceremonies. Now, this comes as there are continued divisions in Israel due to the proposed judicial overhauls. These are sacred days. These are very, very solemn days, and all attention should be focused on what really, really matters, and that is honoring our fallen soldiers and those who have been killed as a result of terror attacks. Last week, there was some controversy when Yair Lapid said he will not be attending the torchlighting ceremony that crosses over from Memorial Day to Independence Day. However, it seems he has backtracked on that decision. And last week, Benny Gantz appealed to everybody to rise above politics and focus on our fallen. Meanwhile, a whole string of members of Knesset from the coalition have cancelled their appearances and giving their speeches at a variety of events across the country tomorrow, fearing that they could be facing protests. Bezalel Smotrich, the finance minister, is also the co-chair of the Otzma Yehudi, says he blames anarchists for creating division between politicians and bereaved families. And his counterpart, Itamar Ben-Gvir, who is due to address crowds at Memorial Day ceremonies in Beersheba tomorrow, says he will stay away from controversial and sensitive topics and will hug everybody, even those who disagree with him. Meanwhile, last week, bereaved families in Beersheba appealed to politicians not to attend Memorial Day events. The kind of language used by Bezalel Smotrich is the kind of language that many feel are only furthering divisions. In some good news, and for the first time in history, an all-female Israeli team of high school mathematicians competed in the European Girls Mathematics Championships in Slovenia And they're so smart, these ladies. They won every medal that was up for grabs. 214 contestants from 54 countries competed, but it was Israel who really shone, and in particular one student who really set the bar very, very high with her perfect score. Well, we always told you Israelis were bright, and now you are seeing our young ladies leading the way. In a few hours' time, Israel will bow our heads and start to remember our fallen soldiers and victims of terror as Yom Hazikaron, Memorial Day, begins. The Memorial Day ceremonies will start with a siren tonight at 8 o'clock, and there will be the national ceremony at the Western Wall Plaza, where it is expected that the President, along with the IDF Chief of Staff, will give addresses. Israel mourns 24,213 fallen soldiers since the birth of the modern Jewish state, with 59 fallen soldiers added in the past year, 86 of them being disabled. Since January, 19 people have been killed in terror attacks across the country. Now, tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, sirens will sound again, and Israelis will attend Memorial Day ceremonies at various cemeteries and at municipal events across the country. Also expected tomorrow, Rabbi Leo D. will be intoning the Yizkor prayer of remembrance as we cross over from Yom Hazikaron to Yom Ha'atzmaut, that is Independence Day. These days were deliberately chosen to coincide along with each other, and we remember the very heavy price that we have paid to be able to live as free people with a state of our own in our ancestral and historic homeland. To all those who fell in battle in defense of this country, from the IDF, the IAF, the Navy, the police forces, the Shabak, the Mossad, and various others, many of whose names we know and whose names we will never know. Thank you for all that you have done so we can live in freedom. We owe you a debt that can never be repaid. I will be updating you on tomorrow's edition of the Israel Brief about Yom HaZikaron ceremonies throughout the country tomorrow. And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast. Please don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. We have a whole host of new content all up. In particular, take a look at a really beautiful article, a tribute to the State of Israel, written by Andy Saitovitz. It's really moving. Of course, our Facebook page is at Lottel Site. Our memorial is up there. Please give us a like, a follow, share our content when you see us. As always, we are battling those restrictions imposed by Facebook to share our content. And we're on YouTube. You can find us at the Israel Brief. Please click on that red subscribe button, like and share our content. And you can find us on Twitter as well at Lay of the Land 5. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, and I'll join you again tomorrow.